Now that Magic the Gathering stuff is over, let's go ahead and talk about a recent development that happened with, well, Elon Musk. And, man, it's really, really hard to live in a world where this man gets to have opinions that actually affect our global security. Because, well, Elon, as it turns out, has been getting DDoSed a lot. Not him specifically, but Twitter.com has been getting DDoSed a crap ton. And there is one group, or there's a couple of groups actually, that are claiming responsibility for the DDoS. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article, and then we're going to go a little bit further into something called Operation Dreadnought. So, Elon Musk's social media company couldn't stay online Monday. Twitter, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, was down for the better part of the day, leaving users and critics to question how involved Musk should be in paring down the federal government when his own history of trimming X has effectively rendered the site unusable. You know, I like that. I like that approach. That is a good approach here. Hours after the site first crashed, Musk took to his account to vaguely blame an outside force for the failure. Musk posted, "There was, still is, a massive cyber attack against Twitter." Musk posted on the site momentarily, when the site momentarily came back online. "We get attacked every day. But this was done with a lot of resources. Either a large coordinated group or a country is involved." A country? A country? But even if a large group coordinated the attack, Musk's decision to clear house at Twitter in 2022 would have been enough to hamper the site's functionality. Man, this writer keeps on hammering down on that. That would have been enough to hamper the site's functionality. Shortly after acquiring the site that year, Musk chose to lay off thousands of the site's employees in order to cut spending, and that included staff and departments focusing on ethical AI, marketing and communication, search, public policy, wellness, and other teams. By January of 2023, the company had shed roughly 80% of its employees, leaving it with fewer than 550 full-time engineers, according to internal records obtained by MSNBC. One anonymous outbound employee told the network that the massive slashes would leave the remaining staff incredibly thin, making it harder to maintain the service reliably. By Musk's own admission, the $44 billion investment into Twitter lost 90% of its value in the months after he acquired it in October. Yeah, the stuff you touch, Musk, it kind of turns to shit. Weird. Weird. Two groups immediately tried to take responsibility for taking down X on Monday. Users shared screenshots of a site they claimed X's web address temporarily redirected to. The page called itself Operation Dreadnought and labeled itself as a part of Anonymous, the decentralized international hacking group. They said, "We are here to fight against fascism that has taken root in America. The Republican Party, MAGA, Trump, and Musk are all imbeciles who are drunk on power and get off on trampling down others. The American people are suffering for it. The world is suffering for it." Simultaneously, the pro-Palestine hacking group Dark Storm also claimed the DDoS attack in a public Telegram post. But in an interview with Fox Business on Monday, Musk claimed, without providing any proof, that the attack came from a third entity. He said, "We're not sure what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack that tried to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area." Ah, yes, I see. Of course, that's what it is. It's not your shitty cybersecurity, and it's definitely not any of the people who have actually claimed responsibility for this. It's 100% Ukraine. Now, let's ignore the fact that people can mask their IP addresses and make it seem like they're coming from anywhere. Let's ignore that fact for just a moment. Let's see what the comments say here, real quick, just to get an idea here. Could it have something to do with his firing of all the engineers when he took over? Musk entering the find out phase of supporting far-right governments around the world. I have my own theory. Elon has no idea what he's doing. That's it. That's the entire theory. Sounds like President Elon Musk and Dingleberry Donnie are both excellent businessmen. I hope everything they both touch implodes. Maybe Eon got rid of the waste that that knew how to keep it running smoothly. He should just blame Clinton, Obama, and Biden and JFK. It's their go-to excuse for everything. Man. Joe T here. This looks like maybe it's a more nuanced response. Well, obviously it's people that don't like him, or it's Russia doing it to garner sympathy, as our intelligent leaders say it's Ukraine, or phrase it in a way that the reader will infer it's Ukraine, so they'll be the bad guys. That's the narrative. Haven't seen anything from our leaders that would indicate they think Ukraine is a victim. It's more likely it's hackers that hate the man that are messing with him. I don't use Twitter, so attack it all you want. Musk's first envelope says to blame predecessor. Second envelope, blame the reorganization. Last one, prepare 3 envelopes. Jesus. The Musk fanboys can't face the fact that he's actually the opposite of genius. Yeah, I don't... So, I like listening to Chris Klazilla, and one of the things he said is that he does believe Elon Musk is a genius, and just... listening to a man who I otherwise respect say something that reality contradicts so heavily is astounding. To think that Elon is the arbiter of 90% of the decisions that go on in all of his companies it shows an astounding lack of understanding of how people like Elon operate. They surround themselves with and by people who have the skill sets needed to implement the strategies that they want to do. He is not himself a genius for just having smart people around him who can do shit. That doesn't make you a genius. That's the same stuff that Trump does. And again, like, I really, really like Chris Klazilla otherwise, but that was an opinion I heard from him that just, like, it really rubbed me the wrong way because it contradicts reality as we understand it. But anyway, let's look at Operation Dreadnought a little bit, because there's a bit to go into here. So here's the page for Operation Dreadnought. OperationDreadnought.com/protest. There's let's go to the home area. We are here to fight against the fascism that has taken root in America. Nami, thank you for resubscribing. The Republican Party, MAGA Party, Musk, they're all imbeciles. We've already seen that in the Yahoo article. They says that they lack morals, empathy, common decency, and any sense that we are a community. They are not kings. They do not speak for the people. They will be removed. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. The usual thing that Anonymous says, just like whenever they fought against the Church of Scientology. Same thing. So, this is an anonymous operation to stop the fascism that has infected the GOP. In the sidebar are links to groups and people who are enabling this. We need to disrupt these groups. Call them out for their hatred, their fascism, their ignorance. This is a call for all of us to take up digital distribution and physical protest. Capitalism is the extraordinary belief that the nastiest of men, for the nastiest of motives, will somehow work together for the benefit of all. Quote from J.M. Keynes. Mark Twain says, when the rich rob the poor, it's called business. When the poor fight back, it's called violence. You know, it's really funny. You can, as a nation, starve people to death, and that's not considered a violent act. But, like, the minute you raise a finger against those people, it's considered bad. Anyway, let's look. Online OPSEC. In this time, you need to stay safe. You need to use good operational security. To ensure you're safe, look at these websites. EFF Surveillance Defense, Practical Privacy, Anonymous Planet, and AFSC Digital Security Guidelines for Protests. So these are all links that you can go to. I'm going to go ahead and provide a link here. And we can go to each of these, digital security guidelines for protests. This is, again, remember how when I've talked about going to protest, how I've said that, like, hey, once you're organized with people, you do your conversations where those people are, not over Discord and over Facebook and stuff like that. This is going to go into a lot of that. Before the protest, ensure your mobile device is encryption. Remove fingerprint, lock, and Face ID to ensure that they're protected with a strong PIN, password, and passphrase. Biometric features are convenient, but they don't provide the same legal protection as a memorized password and pose the risk of law enforcement or malicious actors to easily compel or coerce you to unlock your mobile device. Sign out of any accounts you are logged into on your mobile devices. Email, chat, social media, all that fun stuff. Use secure communication apps that offer full end-to-end encryption. Back up your data. And when it's saying back up your data, it doesn't mean do it on like Google Drive. Back up all your data on a hard disk at home. Ideally, one that is on a RAID system. That way you have a ton of data available to you in case things go south. Also, sidebar, this is where I also should be saying that those of you who really like items that you have gained on the high seas, it's a good idea to have those stored on drives that are hard disk for a variety of reasons. One, they last longer. Two, they can be backed up with a RAID system. Three, they are able to be compromised with a magnet. You know, just in case you have anything stupid that you shouldn't have been storing on those devices in the first place. Anyway, during a protest, leave your device locked while taking photos and videos. Photos and videos of protests can help document and support protest efforts, but you want to be able to do so as quickly as possible without taking the time to unlock your phone and risk losing it or having the phone taken while it's unlocked. Senna says that magnet thing isn't as big a threat for most consumer-grade magnets. You need very strong magnets. SSDs are easier to smash the NAND. That is fair, but you can always miss. You can always miss. Anyway, again, a RAID system is going to be your best option for backing stuff up, and maybe don't store stuff on a hard drive that would get you incriminated in the first place is also probably a good idea. In general, for operational security, you want as many things stored in your brain as humanly possible. If you have things stored on hard disks that can be accessed and can be confiscated, things get awfully awkward for you. It is a better idea to store things of importance that, while not illegal, can certainly be incriminating in certain contexts. Definitely 110% store that shit on your brain. Remember that shit. Operate as if that stuff is stuff that you need to be remembering, like your life depends on it. Don't leave a paper trail for yourself in general. Just kind of a no-brainer. When you're storing things on these devices, it should be personal things. It should be sentimental things. Old Gus says, do you have advice for those of us with stuff stored in our brains we'd rather not have there? Yeah. Suck it up, Buttercup. I do too. All of us do. Every single one of us does. Talk with your friends, talk with your family, talk with people who you respect and are good for you, and work through that stuff so that you can live with it, because you most certainly cannot extract it. And that goes for any terrible thing that has happened in anybody's life. All of us have decisions we have regretted. All of us have decisions that we've regretted that other people have enacted and enforced on us. And we all have to live with those things. So we all need to come together to help each other with those things. But there is no way to remove them. Trauma's trauma. We deal with trauma together. Practical privacy, anonymous planet, all kinds of stuff here for you to look through. Protesting. Tips for safely protesting. Be sure you're prepared for when you are on site and protesting. Be safe, change the world. Preparation. Weather and dress. Check the forecast and layer appropriately. Wear a mask if privacy is a concern. Stay hydrated. Keep your phone charged. Have a battery extender. Attend with a friend or let someone know your plans if you're attending alone. And stay calm and avoid provocative behavior and walk away if needed. Remember, during the BLM protests, people actually got taken away in black vans. Always have a buddy. Always have a buddy. Always have a battery. And if you're dressing in layers for protection, make sure that you've got bottom layer, shorts, shirt, thin as possible, and obviously underwear. Next layer, make sure that you've got some type of overshirt that you can use. Ideally, something that you can have with a hood so that you can protect your privacy if need be. After that, actual jacket, actual hoodie, long pants, things that can cover bits of your body, gloves. If you have sunglasses, hood, gloves, mask, everything, and you are head to toe layered. They can't see your skin color. They can't see your eyes. They can't see any of that stuff that would be able to identify who you are. And is a good idea with all of this to have a poncho in your pocket. Have a poncho in your pocket. One of those plastic ones, which is very small, but in case of having issues with the weather suddenly changing, having a summer rain, or people deciding they're going to counter-protest by doing something stupid like dropping liquids on you, a poncho is going to be a very, very helpful item for that because it is resistant to both wind and also resistant to liquids. Have all of that on you along with everything else. That is what it's meaning when it's talking about your weather and dress. Layers so that you can strip down, pants that are secure enough but baggy enough to hold your items if need be, everything that you can do. Also, a good idea in case violence were to erupt at any point, if you have long hair, wear that long hair up. Not just in a ponytail, like completely scrunched under cap, something, anything to keep that from being an available point of grabbing by an assailant. White allies roles. Protection. Act as a barrier between marginalized protesters and potential aggressors like police or counter-protesters. Amplify voices. Listen more than you speak and ensure marginalized voices are heard. Support leaders of color. Follow direction of leaders from marginalized communities and avoid taking the lead. Old Gus says, not all liquids, plastic ponchos don't protect from the most basic corrosive substances. Also gasoline. If you're dealing with that situation, then that is a very, very fair point. That is a fair point. It doesn't protect from every liquid. Safety at protest. Stay vigilant. Be aware of your surroundings. Avoid engaging with counter-protesters and assist others if needed. I would like to add an addendum to White Allies roles just real quick on here. If there are no leaders in an area, but you have a very good idea of what is going on, what to do, you've done a protest, you've been here before, I would say there's nothing wrong with taking lead if need be, if there's nobody else who is doing the leading. But safety and protest, stay vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, avoid engaging with counter-protesters, assist others if needed. Yeah, no, don't. So, A, don't engage with counter-protesters. B, if somebody's going around with a microphone, definitely do not respond to that person. Do not respond to that person. They may seem like they're the most well-meaning person on the planet, but if you remember, we have covered Caitlin Bennett going to protests dressed, quote, quote, as a Democrat, going to protests and trying to get people to sig hail, trying to get people to do the Nazi salute, trying to bait people into conversations. You do not know every conservative grifter on the planet. You do not know every conservative who works for a right-wing news organization. You do not know every pseudo-well-meaning libertarian who's there to antagonize you. You don't know any of these people, and you don't know all of them that exist in the woodworks. There are thousands of them in our media landscape. It is a very good idea, if these people approach you, play copyright music very loud and ignore them. Expect law enforcement interaction. Stay calm. Keep hands visible. Don't argue with the police. Know your rights. Document your interactions. If a dispersal order is given, comply or face potential arrest. Police must provide a reasonable opportunity to disperse and explain the order. Know your rights. You can record the police's actions, including arrests and excessive force. They cannot seize your phone or delete your photos without a warrant. If arrested, you must be informed of the reason, and you have the right to a lawyer and your phone call. You are not required to consent to searches without a warrant, and police cannot delete your recordings. This guide emphasizes personal safety, respect for organizers, and understanding legal rights during a protest. It is crucial to stay aware of the situation and prioritize peaceful action and protection for all involved. And then there are sources for how to protest safely and know your rights from the ACLU and how to be a good white ally, all that stuff. Then we have lists of evil people and groups. The Alliance Defending Freedom, Kiwi Farms, Ferris Wilkes, Dan Wilkes, PragerU, Eagle AI Network, Bergini, Russian hackers, Logan Circle Group, 1776 Project Pack, Leonard Leo. Like, the list goes on and on. Americans for Prosperity, Article 3, Professor Watch List. All of these people are considered very, very awful and should be avoided at all costs. Project 2025 groups. Here are all the conservative organizations involved with Project 2025 because this shit is still ongoing. Again, do you remember how many times people tried to say that Project 2025 wasn't Trump's agenda? It wasn't the thing the Conservative Party was going to be engaging in. And yet they're doing every single thing that is listed in Project 2025. Man, that's so weird. That's so funny. That's so quirky. That's so cute and hilarious that each and every one of you disinformation idiots were doing that shit. Speaking of disinformation idiots, we have disinformation groups. South Front, News Front, Group Structure, Russia Today, Ruptly, Sputnik. A lot of Russian organizations. The IRA, the Internet Research Agency. And then a bunch of resources here. Hey, look, it's some of the resources that I've advocated for use. 5 calls. 50501. 50501 is for getting involved in protests. 5 calls is for getting in contact with your representatives. And a few that I actually have not seen. No Voice Unheard. We'll check this out. Take Down Tesla. U.S. House of Representatives Finder. These ones I already... The House of Reps Finder and the Senate Finder, that's just for finding your reps. Find elected officials, same thing. Contacting government officials, focus on California. But lots good for U.S. government. Anonymous guide to helping on an operation. So we've already looked at the digital security guidelines. No Voice Unheard. Click on your state to find events near you. So if we click on Georgia, 2025 peaceful protests, no submissions found here. Interesting. What about Florida? Okay, so there's lots of protests happening in Florida that you can find here. Let's take a look over here. Nothing happening in GA. Nothing happening in Alabama. Nothing happening here. Okay, cool. So there's a bunch of stuff happening in Florida. What about up in Tennessee? Nothing in Tennessee. So, you know what that means, though? What you're supposed to do when you can't find the stuff here is check over on Mobilize. Mobilize will have a lot of this information as well. And there's going to be areas where they do not cross-cover each other. Check both. NVU Unheard and Mobilize. The Tesla Takedown, a peaceful protest movement. Sell your Teslas, dump your stock, stop Musk now. And then Anonymous Operations. This is a giant OPSEC document so that you can make sure that you are able to help out with these types of operations. And then, of course, there's a Blue Sky account, email address, Reddit, Telegram, and IRC. Notably, not a Twitter. Imagine that. And that just about does it for all the information on Operation Dreadnought. One of the agencies, or one of the groups, rather, it's more of a cell than an agency, but my brain defaults to words. One of the groups that has claimed responsibility for disrupting Elon Musk as much as he has been disrupted recently. Plenty of good resources on OperationDreadnought.com. Tons of stuff that is helpful for you. Tons of stuff you can use. Even if you do not think that Anonymous is actually helping out in the efforts against Elon and Trump, it doesn't matter because the website is still a wonderful resource with tons of stuff that you need in order to go out and be effective while also being safe yourself. And this is where I would normally talk about things you can do because of the current situation, but like, they already covered all that. So instead, I'll just say maybe check out my Blue Sky. I talk about things on there sometimes. I let you know sometimes when I'm going live. Thank you for the Hydrate webpage. Also, I happen to have a Magic the Gathering channel. Those of you who are on stream watched me playing Magic earlier with Alan from Mental Misplay and a few others. I've also got a Patreon page if you want to support me directly. Old Gus, thank you for redeeming your points for an OWL. I also have a Fourth Wall page where you can get merchandise like this playmat over here. Check out my streams and check out my channel. I have content Monday through Sunday on the main channel, and I stream Monday through Thursday on my live stream channel and over on Twitch. So, that all said, thank you for watching. My voice is hurting. I appreciate each and every one of you being here and all of you who support me so that I can do what I do. That said, thank you for being here, and insert into video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravelern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Lil Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fire Shard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.